Welcome, everybody. This is Ray of RebelEars.com. I want to thank everybody who's tuning in to the podcast. Thank you for all my listeners. A few things. Got a few sample packs that's coming out. A collaboration with Wolf Drone. The sample pack is called Lycanthrope. And it's a very creative sample pack. It has like a lot of drums, kick snares, hi-hats, 808s. I also got some drum loops that was made by Wolf Drone, and also some choir vocals. It's just something different. But then also I am doing a collaboration with Fly Hippie's own Izzy Askew. We're doing a vocal pack. And it's just content I'm trying to give people who's in the industry, from artists, producers, and even engineers, because it's always good to build your catalog. No matter if it's dealing with production or drums or synths, instruments, it's always good to just build from the ground up. Because I do know as time goes by, there's going to be more producers out there, more artists. The youth is growing. They understand how to use Pro Tools, Fruity Loops, Logic, Ableton, the list goes on. Everybody has their own drum kit, sample pack, and it's just good to have something that's new, because when it's just the same, a lot of people won't have interest. You always got to come out with something new. So that's why, for anybody who wants to get early download of Lycanthrope, all you have to do when you go on Instagram, type in rebelears.raid, REBELEARS.RAI. Send me a DM. So you're going to do the hashtag rebelears with your email address, right? And you'll get an email of the sample pack, exclusive before it even comes out, because I really want to test it out with a couple producers that I work with, even some new ones who's out there. But if you do music, shout it out to your friend, let them know what's going on, get people involved, because that's how we grow. So now I really want to get more in depth with mastering. So there's a few things when it comes to mastering a lot of people, get confused on, like what to do with a master, how you know if you're doing it right. There's no wrong or right when it comes to like music. When it comes to mixing, right? You can have a vocal using a guitar plugin, right? If it sounds good to you, then use it. You shouldn't always feel like the top latest plugin that everybody using. You don't have to use it. If you find something that you like, do it. But, a few steps that I actually learned from different mastering engineers that I actually engaged with, had interviews with, talked to. So one of the best things you need to do, of course, talk to the client. Like, what do they hear when it comes to their mastering? Because, of course, if you're not the mixing engineer and they sent you the WAV version of the 2-track so you could go ahead and master it, of course, you're going to be talking to the client, seeing what they would like to do with it. Moving forward, trying to build that relationship to work from just one single track to a whole project, right? So, of course, you got to have the ears of a music lover. A lot of people get confused with that because, of course, you're trying to get in depth with mastering, but you don't have to be a technician about it, because you're supposed to listen to the aspect of enjoyment. So close your eyes, tap your feet, move with the music, vibe to it, feel the emotion. Okay, that's the biggest thing when it comes to mastering, because you got to decide how you want to enhance the piece of music, sonically speaking, right? So one of the best things you can do, reference from different microphones, different monitors that's out there, different listening environments. Go outside, take a walk, jog, go in your car, listen on your laptop speakers, in your room. If you have a home studio, listen on those speakers, listen on, even on TV, because think of it, if you want to get placements in films, how it's going to sound on TV, background wise, or a commercial. And then when it comes to EQ, you can learn more about mid-side equalization, right? So that's something we'll get in depth with as time goes by. And always reference the track. A lot of people feel like, my mix is good, my master is good, I really don't need to reference. But the best thing to do is reference, because it gives you off the bat, okay, how it would sound as competition. Because when you put your music out, everybody's a competition. Okay, it's good to have fun with music, but if you're doing it for the purpose of longevity, of course you want to focus more on the lines of getting it as close to radio ready as you can. So referencing the track is very beneficial. When it comes to compression, you want to really be careful, because when you're compressing, when you're doing mastering, you might use a compressor or a limiter, and you can really squash the whole project. You want to, in my opinion, slow attack, fast release, a ratio of like 2 to 1, 3 to 1. It depends on you, because you want to see at least 1 to 2 decibels of gain reduction for, the compression. Because each track that you have that's working as a whole will sound different when it's compressed. So you don't want to go to the extreme and just crank up the knob. You want to let the compressor slightly hit enough that you do hear the effects of it, and it's not really changing the track itself, like no added color or anything. You want to control it. So, you can add so we talked about EQ, compression, mid-side EQ, that's more on the lines of, getting in depth when it comes to the quality of how it sounds sonically, like surround sound, mid-side, mono, stereo. Compression, but what I would really consider saturation, exciters, processing, enhancing, that deals with like if you want to do, have that old school feel with the tape emulator. There's different things you can do, especially when it comes to mastering. You just gotta, think about it. Now, when it comes to the loudness, sometimes your ears, always trust your ears, but it should only be your ears. You should use your eyes too, especially when it comes to the root mean square, RMS, or, just trying to check the loudness from the peak levels. Do more research when it comes to peak levels, RMS. Do more research when it comes to mastering, because there's so much information out there. One website that I love to use is proaudiofiles.com, because they have articles that deals with mixing, recording, producing, and mastering. Anytime I'm confused about something or I need to get more in depth on, they do have a big catalog of information when it comes to like mastering, the importance and benefits of mastering, what you would do in every master, headroom, because a lot of people don't even know what headroom is. So basically, when it comes to mixing and mastering, mixing is basically all the tracks as a whole. Everything is individually set on there: drums, kick, snare, hi-hats, 808, instruments, guitar, synths, all those, the vocals, verse 1, verse 2, hook, ad-libs, outs. And that's what you would do. You would mix them all together to have a balance. And mastering is when you get the waveform of the 2-track, which everything is sent into the DAW of your choosing to master it, right? And when it comes to the headroom, depending on if you're using, there's different terminologies. It could be stereo out, the master fader, or you could do a sub-master. A lot of people have their own techniques, but it's similar in that category. You would take all the plugins off of the stereo out, sub-master, or master fader, and you would actually bounce it that way, so you have enough headroom, so when you send it to the mastering engineer, it's not fighting for peak level. Because what happens, you send a track that you master yourself to a mastering engineer, you might figure out that it sounds the same to an extent because you didn't give them that much to work with. Because the point of mastering is, control the loudness of the track itself, add some compression, EQ, depending on if you want saturation, exciter, enhancing, processing. It all, plays a part in it. So you just got to figure out what works for your track. Every track is going to be different, so you shouldn't, feel like you have to use the same plugins. Learn your limiters. Learn how to use, the stop plugins. And even if you purchase some mastering compressors, learn it. Okay, and take the time to. Of course, like I said, use reference tracks to make sure that it sounds, it has enough quality to compete with what's coming out into the world. A little EQ is not bad. You should always, try to see what's standing out. Use subtractive EQ, to remove flaws. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. But, when you move something out, you're taking like a lot out of that actual frequency range. So just be careful when you EQ it. Understand metering. Take the time to literally look up information that comes to peak, average volume, and then, mastering goes beyond just, the quality of it, because it deals with distribution from dithering, creating DDP. And then if you feel like you need to master, you can master in the box too. So you don't really need analog gear. There's stuff out there to help you to be very beneficial in the future. And if you work on a track too long, don't just feel like you need to finish it that day. If you need to, take your time to make sure that, you get everything together. So if you have to go back to it, your ears are not fatigued. So if you have a long session mastering like a project, take some time in between so your ears won't get tired. Because as time goes by, you might be hearing things that wasn't there before. You're trying to fix something that doesn't need to be fixed, and that could be a problem, especially if you're timed, if you're on a time limit. Because, of course, people are going to hit you up to do things here and there, get your mix done, but you got to figure out what's best for you. Don't just, go by what, other people want. If you have a certain degree of professionalism, like if you have your mastering done on the website, which we also going to be providing on rebelears.com, that's coming out. We're going to be assisting with mixing, mastering. It's going to be to the point like if you have a 2-track wave, even MP3s. Now, we're going to be talking more in depth when it comes to MP3, because that's just compressing the waves file to an MP3, if that makes sense to people, right? Because a wave file could be like a 25 megabyte track, and an MP3 might be like 3 megabyte. And that's a big difference, especially if you're trying to send something through email. Now, we're going to be doing deals too when it comes to mastering, because I got a couple of people on the team who have their own companies, but they're doing deals through Rebel Ears to the point that to get your song mastered, it'll be $15. And the reason they're doing that, because, this year is all about networking and just building. So I do know for a fact with the type of clients that I'm working with, it could be very beneficial for those who really trying to understand more when it comes to mastering, or they just trying to look at ways to make more money by doing things themselves instead of having like mastering engineers that'll be costing an arm and a leg, just so you can get your music out. So I understand when it comes to the quality of getting your track mastered, and even understand, the difference from a balanced track to a warm track to, a stereo imaging track, like just very open. There's a lot of things that goes on the lines of mastering. Don't just let anybody master your track if you don't really have, their catalog or their background on what they're doing. And then we also going to be having deals when it comes to mastering the whole project. So the price is going to be issued out. Nothing as of yet, but as time goes by, we will be implementing that. And also, I really want to talk big on newsletters, getting different emails from different websites dealing with your niche or your interest, right? So with me, I have so many different websites that I get, content daily, from mixing, recording, mastering, podcasts, social media marketing, email marketing, affiliate marketing, webinars. You got to do research daily. You got to understand, like, there's so much information that's out there, but are you really going to take the time to learn? Are you really going to take the time out of your day to put 30 minutes to an hour aside just to make sure you could get some studying done? Because that's what I'm doing right now. Right now, as we speak, I'm looking up information when it comes to, life mastery. So when it comes to life mastery, it could be something as like your daily routine when you wake up. It could be something that deals with what's your morning ritual, because I have a morning ritual. As soon as I wake up, I drink a glass of apple cider vinegar water. I pray, meditate, look through my list of things to do that I wrote down the night before. Because before I go to sleep, I try to write a list of things that I want to get done by tomorrow. I write at least 25 things, try to focus on the first 5 that I feel is more important. The other 20, I'll put to the side for another time, because if I finish the 5, then I already have another set of 5 that I need to get done. So it's all about just making sure that you can organize your day by day to get the most out of it. Instead of feeling like you waking up, don't really know what to do with your life, don't know really what to start on. Start on yourself. Start on writing down a list before you go to sleep on what you're trying to accomplish. It could be in the morning, write a list of things that I would like to do for 2020. It could be a list of, who to call this year, who to network with this year, what kind of tracks I'm trying to do this year, who I'm trying to sell to, what's my budget on to spend for, inventory or merchandise, production, video, editing, all that. It should all be, part of your to-do list, getting things done this year, because I don't want to be on the other end when I tell a lot of people what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, give them information from a podcast, give them access to my websites, try to tell them more about affiliate marketing, helping them when it comes to email marketing, and then they don't do nothing. Because there's only going to be a handful of people who's listening to the podcast who's really going to strive for their dreams. So if you're not one of those people who's taking the time out day by day, working on your goals, what are you doing? Don't just live. Live with a purpose. Execute. That's my word of 2020, execute. Okay? So the 3 things that we talked about was the sample pack that's going to be coming out soon, that if you want to get an early access, like I said, follow me on my Instagram. Send me a hashtag Rebel Ears, REBELEARS, with your email address. And you will be getting the sample pack of Lycanthrope. That is a Wolf Drone / Rebel Ears collaboration sample pack. And then when the website do open up, you will get early access to ebooks, Focal Pack that's coming out, learning more on the depths of mastering, and then newsletters, routines, moving forward in life. So as long as you're taking care of what you're doing day by day, you will succeed. So from everybody at Rebel Ears, I want to tell everybody thank you for listening and keep tuning in.